Episode 292 of the TV Dudes, recorded July 22nd, 2020. Half-cocked. Did y'all know there's a new streaming network? And 30 Rock is back? And neither of those things are good news.
Wait, what?
Quibi, right?
Yeah,
Quibi.
We're going to get into that. We have our first
feels
look
very on brand for 2020.
We have our first look at Killa Kill, the newest anime we're watching from our patron Mandy, and it's anime, so we've got thoughts. But before we get to that, I'm Randy.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Les.
And we're the TV Dudes. Guys, this is a weird week for an episode. This was my fault probably. I was like, hey, Peacock is coming out. There's a couple shows on there. I'm curious about Brave New World. Is like Grant Morrison's involved in it. It's based on the Aldous Huxley novel, which I remember liking in high school.
Randy, it is a streaming service that leverages the power of NBC Universal and their great history of amazing television, along with spectacular new shows that they have made just for you. The synergy alone.
Yeah, that's
Synergy.
That's definitely what it was supposed to be. So yeah,
What was it instead?
we did not enjoy Peacock, and we're going to talk about that in the main part of the show. But as a result, we're gonna split it up a little bit. We're gonna try and watch Brave New World next week, which I, as our brave scout into this Brave New World of Peacock, am willing to say is the only show worth watching of all the stuff they have. So this week we're going to talk about the 30 Rock reunion special, which all three of us watched. And then I'm going to talk about The Capture and Intelligence, which are two shows that are both British for some reason. And one is a comedy starring David Schwimmer about the British, not NSA, but they're the people who like monitor cyber traffic and that kind of stuff. It's like their cyber NSA. That's an office comedy starring David Schwimmer as an NSA guy who comes in and is really obnoxious. And then the flip side is The Capture, which is a story about, Britain is famous for its CCTV cameras being everywhere. And this is about a CCTV investigation that's going on into, maybe it sounds like someone who had his CCTV stuff faked, and now he's being prosecuted for a murder he didn't commit. It is more interesting than Intelligence, less interesting than Brave New World.
Also an office comedy?
No, yes. This one's a drama. But it's weird that they're of their shows, like two of them are both like intelligence service based British. One's a comedy, one's a drama. It's like if the same network made Armageddon and Deep Impact at the same time.
Oh yeah, or like Serve and Report and Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Well, now I want an office comedy about a lonely NSA guy who is just tired of listening to people find love in their own lives secretly. And
but we got that in The Good Fight.
That's right. And it's Jared from fucking Silicon Valley.
You know when the next office comedy needs to be about those Facebook moderators who have to like scrub Facebook of all the offensive material.
Yeah, I had a friend, Randy may know as well, whose job it was to go through Apple and or at one point I'd worked, I think, at Facebook and scrubbed profile pic or penis. Which one?
Imagine the office comedy that, arises from that situation.
Honestly, guys, it's a better pitch than most of what NBC's putting on next year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get to that. Before we get to the
still available, just any execs that are out there.
Before we get to that, though, just a reminder that you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes, throw us $1 an episode. In exchange, we get to creep up with all these streaming services, and we keep up with our hosting costs, and you get free content each week. And this week, we are making our way through Fast and Furious. We're almost done. We're now at number 8, Fate of the Furious. This is technically the end of the extant Fate of the Furious book movies. The next one is actually a spin-off featuring Hobbs and Shaw.
This is a really important part in the chronology, though, because this is when the Fast and the Furious franchise catches up with the Mario Kart franchise. Number 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought it was weird.
Very important point.
It was weird when The Rock started throwing Koopa shells at Jason Statham.
But you know what? I bought it. I mean, it fit in the world.
Of course.
His new nickname, Blue Shell.
Also, as always, if you want to go the showrunner route and pay $20, you can get 2 shows, even anime shows, on our radar. And that's just what Mandy Kokot did. And as a result, our first show that we're going to talk about today is Killa Kill.
I am deathly afraid to complain about anime for fear that people will troll us with it more.
Here's the thing. I know Mandy is not trolling. She really... This is the thing. We set a timer on making fun of anime, and I'm not going to go too long into this, but every anime fan I know, they really and honestly and truly, they love it so much that they honestly believe that it's just that we haven't found the right show yet. That we are going to, at some point, find the right show and fall in love with anime. And I just want to be there. I just want to be the person to tell you, that is not going to happen.
There's so much... anime isn't open to all genres of story. Anime has its own style it puts on the top of it. It's like, I don't care if you're remaking Casablanca or Iron Man or Top Gun. If you do it in Bollywood style... it's going to be less understandable and connecting for me because I don't really like that whole set, and I don't want my musicals like that. And mostly it's that I don't know the language. Like, I don't know the visual shorthand that we're getting here. I end up with more questions than answers on almost every anime. This one was pretty fun. The episode I watched, I'm looking forward to watching more. The plot is bananas, and I can tell that it's meta having fun with anime itself. The name is a pun joke, and I'm a sucker for that. Killa Kill, the word to wear in Japan sounds like kill phonetically, I guess. From what I was reading.
And I guess fashion sounds like fascism, and that's where the whole thing came from.
And so you've got as I understand it, none of this is explained in the start. You kind of have to pick this up after 3 or 4 fights.
Sorry, Les, before you give us the rundown, I would like to real quick say I would watch the shit out of a Top Gun Bollywood musical. I just want to say that. Or for that matter, a Top Gun anime. Like, give me fighter planes and shit, I would watch an anime based on fighter planes and shit.
Oh,
do you know how obnoxiously douchebag sexy Iceman's going to be? Like, how ridiculously thin and like...
It's true. He is going to be a pretty man.
When he has his opening scene, he will appear 10 times to scale of all the rest of the characters. His foot will be the size of Tom Cruise as he steps in. He'll also be made of actual ice.
Yes.
And then he'll literally thaw through the ice with his Val Kilmer hotness.
It's the only way they win the volleyball match.
Yeah, each time that they pan back to him, his shirt will have lost one more button.
Yeah.
He's going to start with sunglasses, but he's going to end with a bald head. Like, he's going to have less hair every time you cut to him, too, till he's just all glistening skin.
I'm in for this. Anyway, back to Killa Kill. Yes, let's proceed by all means.
So it's... There's a book I adore called Kung Fu High School by Ryan Gaddis, and I can't believe they've never made it into a movie or anything, but it kind of reminds me of this, and I feel like this is a trope in a lot of animes. You have a high school that is somehow run entirely by fight gangs.
Yeah.
Because this is literally the student council has made battle rules that run the school because of these uniforms called Goku uniforms.
Yeah, they're Goku uniforms.
That give them superhuman powers, and because they're made with a single power thread or life thread or some shit.
Can I also say one more thing about the school? It towers above the entire city as the center, as this it's almost like a big impenetrable castle.
Yeah.
And then the student class president literally stands on top of the school, above everyone. It's a really neat visual.
Yeah, and it makes no sense. You get an immediate the world is just nuts. The whole town just puts up with these loudspeakers get over here, we're gonna boil your friend in oil because of a school thing. No one can stop us. It just leaps straight into this.
And our protagonist
is a transfer student, as I understand it.
Is a transfer student who she has half of a giant pair of scissors.
Mm-hmm.
The other half of which were used to kill her father.
And she wants to find out who killed her father, and she believes it might be the student council president. And so she's going to use her fighting skills to determine who killed her father.
But these uniforms kick the shit out of her in the opening of the first episode.
They do. She has no Goku suit. She cannot fight, and therefore she needs to find a Kamui.
That, real quick, the whole thing with these Goku suits, this is kind of an interesting concept. If you're going to buy into this world,
sure.
is you essentially have these 3 uniforms, the 1-star uniform, the 2-star uniform, and the 3-star uniform, and they each trump each other.
And they're aren't they trying to make a 5-star uniform, but they just can't get it to work? It's too powerful. That might be a later episode.
Well, I'm wondering what does the class president have? And how does that different from our blood suit? Well, I might be jumping ahead.
She starts out having a 3-star, but I believe she gets a Kamui, the blood suit that has... So, the Goku... By the way, I realize that it sounds like nonsense what I'm saying right now. I understand. But the Goku suits
we just got to prove to our Patreons that we've actually watched this.
The Goku suits have a life thread. And they have, I believe, 1, 2, or 3 life threads in them. And that's what gives them their powers. But the Kamui are built entirely out of life thread.
And our protagonist falls into some kind of hole and lands on a pile of trash and cuts her arm. And then all of a sudden, this sentient talking sailor uniform, which is one of the words Randy just said, jumps out of there talking a bunch of shit about how, like, no, it'll be great. Just let me put myself on you. It's going to fit perfectly. And then while she screams no... the suit forces itself on her.
Yeah.
And now she's...
super duper rapey. Just saying.
And then the suit itself is... like, it makes Psylocke look like she's Amish. I cannot express how non-fight ready this suit is. The liquid power steam that gushes out of every part of it when she gets ready to fight... this brings me to my main issue with anime and why it is not for every story and is not just a matter of, oh, you just haven't found the one that appeals. You haven't found your This Is Us for anime. You're watching the Battlestar Galacticas of anime. No. Anime always puts me in a bind because of being raised in this toxic masculinity. I feel like I am betraying being a dude or something if I complain about sexuality in anything. Right. I feel like most guys probably were raised a little bit feeling like this.
Yeah.
What the fuck is with anime? All of these people are in school. I mean, like, these are schoolgirls.
Yep.
One whole scene before they're boiling the friend in acid is about her not being scared of the acid, but being scared that she should have worn her sexy panties because the whole school's going to see her skirt fall up.
Yep. Also,
and then our protagonist fights in this... anyway,
pretty rich coming from a Ryan Murphy fan. All right,
I realize that, and I realize that there are adult cartoons and children's cartoons, but from what I can tell, all anime leans on this as a trope, and I don't fully understand how it's empowering.
Let's go back to the suit real quick, because that's a really important part of the show. That's essentially like Superman's red cape for this universe.
Yeah, the suit is the thing, and it drinks her blood. And it's kind of hilarious because every time they're in a fight, it's like, you got to stop fighting in 5 minutes. I'm drinking too much of your blood. You're gonna pass out. And she's like, there's one point where she's like, well, then stop drinking all my blood. instead of telling me that I might lose this fight because you're drinking too much of my blood, maybe stop drinking my blood. And it's like, sorry, dude, I gotta drink your blood.
I wonder if people would do that in real life. Like, let's say you were some badass Mark Wahlberg, boxer movie type guy, and like you had some type of computer that said, okay, you better stop right now because you're definitely going to lose this fight. Like, how many people would go, oh, thanks? Or how many people would be like, I'm going to live forever?
At first I thought you were meaning like you're in the middle of a big movie punching fight, and all of a sudden the Mark Wahlberg guy stops and goes, hey, is most of this you or me? I think it's me. Maybe we should sit down for a minute. Do you need an orange juice or something? Yeah, no, we can pick this back up in 5.
I think if Corona has taught us anything, it's that nobody listens to math. So I think your computer would be like, you're definitely going to lose. You'd be like, nah, you're wrong. You're wrong, computer.
I'll show you.
Also, speaking of the pervy stuff, in like episode 2 or 3, there's a point at which she has to power. She's having trouble fighting the other person. And the suit is like, you have to get and her friend are like, you have to get naked. And she discovers the truth of the power is that she can't wear clothes under the Kamui. She has to be naked under the Kamui to fight, and that will make her more powerful. Mandy. Okay, so Mandy did tell me going into this. She's like, I like pervy stuff, and
that's what I wanted. Like, so as far as I can tell, there's some level of this in every anime I've ever seen.
Yeah,
like it goes a little beyond the pale for me, and I recognize that I like what I like in sex, but I also don't want to talk about it with you or have it plugged in. Like, if I want to watch porn later, I will watch porn later, but I don't need people to fuck in the middle of 30 Rock, for example.
Actually, that might have helped this 30 Rock.
That might have helped that 30 Rock thing. I take it back. But generally, like when I'm watching, it feels shoehorned into every anime, or not shoehorned in. I'm sorry. It feels like a foundational crux of all anime.
It's part of it, yeah.
To be as not sexy, purile. Like,
yeah.
It feels like junior high tits out. So I realize I'm shitting on anime, and I genuinely want to know from anime. I tried to look this up, and all I could find online were long threads on Reddit and Quora about how I should feel bad for Japanese men between the ages of 15 and 25 who are single because they work too many hours and they don't have time to date, and so every single anime has to be like this because they are desperate and horny. And I need a better fucking reason than that for why other people keep recommending anime to me, and I really want to know, are there anime that people can recommend to me that are not Studio Ghibli, that do not involve child sex?
That's a good challenge. I know that Mandy is considering her second one for us.
And I don't mean that I don't mean to call everybody I didn't say pedophilia. I'm saying that they are set in high school, and all these people are kids and they're fucking. I mean, I'm not saying that like Pretty Little Liars does not have a lot of teen sex happening in it.
Yeah.
But like, is there an anime where it is not like made for, where I don't feel like the show is made for 20 to 30-year-old dudes about the sexual power of high school girls?
There's some stuff that when you have it on, you feel embarrassed. Like if your friends see you watching something. This is something where I wasn't embarrassed because it was anime or because she was playing with half a scissors, like a sword or something. Yeah. But like when the teacher like saves her and then is talking to her and is like, you have to prove this to me, and like his clothes start falling off. Like, it sounded like I was making up all that stuff earlier, but I was pretty much just describing a scene from Killa Kill, but with
Eon
Iceman
Flux
and
catches
Val
the
Kilmer.
same. I mean, I will happily bitch about Eon Flux for another 15 minutes. Like, it is not just. It's not just anime I've seen recently. Like, I don't have a set of sacred cows like this.
Right. Did you say Aeon Flux?
It also has way the like. What is?
You mean the anime that was adapted into the American film starring Charlize Theron, who also stars in Fate of the Furious?
Yes, I know. I'm so glad you guys did not.
I see what you did there, Les. I see what you did.
But yes, that cartoon also was like, why are we just putting this like? Mm-hmm. If it's a meta commentary on how we cram sexuality into everything, I can actually roll with that. But like, I really want to know what is with the absolute lack of separation between hentai and anime.
I will say Shannon did make a comment. She's like, is this some like porno thing? Like
there is a porn end of anime. There's a different word for it. Like Fast and the Furious had a lot of hot chicks and dudes and shit in it, but it wasn't porn. Yeah. And like anime blurs that line. Like, I feel like we made a name up for hentai after the fact, and they went, "Oh, what end of the pool are y'all labeling? Cool."
Something else. I found myself going, "Oh, I thought that was a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure thing." No, this must just be a thing that they do in anime.
Yeah, the calling out fight names, kind of fight moves thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Or
same.
Explaining like bits of exposition that like give you more juice on the scene. Like, oh no, I got to fight this guy, but this is the guy who I think might have killed my brother right before my brother was supposed to give me this big secret. But now only he knows the secret, and I have to beat him to find out the secret.
Yeah.
Yep. So outside of my prudishness about sex in anime, this takes the fight conventions of anime and cranks them up to 11. I will say that the fights and the dynamism make it an absolutely watchable show. Yeah. They are beautifully animated for what I realized, the whole reason that anime looks like this is that it was made cheaper budget. Like, how do we make animated shows during a huge depression economically? Like, how can this be financially viable to make cartoons? That's how anime style partly came about. And so, like, I get that they're shorthanding a lot of stuff, but man, they're doing it well. These fights are fucking awesome. Also, and I found myself getting into it even as I was like, I don't want to be getting into this. Fuck.
I will say this, around, I think, episode 3, there's a really great sort of extended car chase thing that was really good, too. Like, the action is pretty spectacular. I mean, that's one thing that anime has always done well.
And in those senses, and this is what made me really want to know what is the deal with anime. I realize there's some language things like the teardrop out the eye and the cutting to, there's a different word for the more childish style, like the little kid baby stuff.
Chibi.
Yeah, chibi. Like sometimes that kind of stuff happens, and like big tear comes out of the side of somebody's face to show the emotion. Like, I know that there's
some snot out of their nose to show they're sleeping.
Like, guys, visual.
Do you know about the
visual shorthand? I don't know.
Do you know about the nosebleed thing?
No.
So when someone is horny, their nose begins like projectile bleeding, and there is a sequence in here where they're driving by, like three. I feel it's like 2 or 3 people are driving by, and one of the girls does something that like her skirt flies up or something, and like all their noses explode in blood. And I'm like, I was dying laughing because I knew the convention, but I'm thinking, man, if you don't know the convention, that is the most bizarre thing you've ever seen in your life, and they're just like spontaneously bleeding out the side of the car.
So I know there's stuff like that's happening that I'm missing some of the, or it's harder for me to understand this, and that will get better as I watch more anime, which I'm sure. And so like I'm not mad at anime for me just not knowing the language of it by any means. But in where the fight scenes worked for me, it reminded me of some of the crazier U.S. cartoons I liked, like Super Jail.
Yeah.
Which also gets bug shit crazy, but storytelling wise establishes its rules differently and walks me through the plot a little differently. And I feel like there's more core differences in anime and just like what they give a fuck about telling me, what they feel they owe the audience, what the audience expects in plot or characterization, like how much an anime audience needs to know when they roll into a show versus how much I want to know rolling into like a 1-hour drama.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because, like, I wouldn't put up with this kind of start to a show if it weren't anime. Like, I would start a script and go, fuck that.
So,
what?
I believe y'all both said you wanted to watch a couple more episodes of this.
Yes.
So we might revisit again next week.
Yes, I think we should revisit it again.
Yeah. I was going to say, the other really cool thing besides, like, the action and how some of that's animated, like, when it goes into that stylized look, along with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, this music is really bitchin' in like a good way.
When I try to look up, like, is this one particularly sexy? Is there something going on with why this one? I mean, because I didn't want to just wander in here and go, fuck anime for being pervy. But one of the things apparently that Killa Kill gets noted for is perfect music choice.
Huh.
And I got to give them that. Its soundtrack's just great.
It's not like a classic 80s metal. It's kind of like that new wave, screamo-ish emo metal. Yeah. But like the really good stuff where it's like super tech guitars that are really emotional and like get you like in the middle of the fight.
It fits the style of their fights so well that I hardly even noticed it. But like there needed to be some music like there. It couldn't have just been silent, but it really works so well.
It's good. Even if you don't like those genres, it pairs up really good with the style so well.
All right, let's change gears a little bit, and let's talk about that 30 Rock reunion special.
Yeah. So there was a recent takedown piece, or not takedown. There was a recent piece about how 30 Rock has aged that I read, and about Tina Fey, like her sheet cake debacle, and various criticisms that are fair of Tina Fey's comedy, and that she's fucking sharp and mean sometimes.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's all that came through in the writing on this 30 Rock special. So it's just a big ad. It is the NBC upfronts or the Peacock upfronts.
Well, actually, before that, this is a stay-at-home episode.
Yes, it is also a stay-at-home episode.
Yep.
I was excited about this because
me too.
Parks and Rec did that note perfect, all Zoom reunion that got me all up in my feels, that reminded me of how much I love the show. That has me going back there and doing a rewatch of the show. Like, it was the perfect, like, oh, I love these characters, and I love these actors, and I love the people who make this show, and they can still get me. Like, it still feels right. And so 30 Rock, the expectation, now maybe this is unfair on 30 Rock, but my expectation was, oh, this is going to give me that same, holy crap, I can't believe how much stuff you guys packed into it. I can't believe you did this. Like, those guys did 2 live episodes. And they did ambitious shit. And I thought, oh, these guys have pulled off a live episode. They can do a Zoom episode. And then they opened with Liz on the streets of New York doing a mask bit. And I'm like, that's a nice little thing to do. Basically, it's mostly going to be Zoom, but we did do a location shot. And I thought that was going to be interesting. And then, no, then it's a fucking commercial. And there are like 5 commercial breaks, and you can't tell what's real and what's a joke. And so it all becomes either real or a joke, and none of it's funny enough, so it's all real.
Yeah. You should make it a drinking game where every time you hear a character say NBC Universal, you have to take a drink.
Like, oh my God, you'd die.
Here's the thing. Tina Fey and these guys, they've gone at this before.
But the show's even better.
They did 30 Rock. They had a point where Snapple was an advertiser, and it was and they were making fun of native advertising, and it was funny. Like, it was clearly actually native advertising, but they were also making fun of it, and it worked. They're trying to have their cake and eat it, too, and they've done it before, and they try to do it again. This is both supposed to be a advertising for the Peacock Network and advertising for NBC's fall lineup, but also, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, isn't it ridiculous that 30 Rock is doing this? And in fact, yes, it is. It's stupid, and you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. They I can see where, at a shallow thinking, like somebody spitballed it in a meeting, it seemed like a good idea to make 30 Rock the framing show, like the framing device for this.
Yeah.
Because 30 Rock did so many silly shows, and they poked fun at NBC and all that. And if they had thought about it much more, it would have been apparently a terrible fucking idea. Because 30 Rock made vicious fun of other television. It made MILF Island and shit.
Yep.
So, or Hominem. And so, by doing this,
I would watch MILF Island. I feel like everybody would.
I would watch that. I would also watch Hominem. But they try to do all of it. Like they both want to wink at the camera and talk about how stupid it is that they would never do upfront or never do industrials like this while they're doing one. And like, haha, I get it, but it's still a tired joke. The entire premise of this episode is Zoom bombing, which is not a thing after like the April update of Zoom. Like that got addressed really early in the pandemic.
Yeah.
So there's so many writing choices here that are shallow and lazy thinking. About the best thing I can say about it is that they don't call Twofer refuses to be called Twofer.
Yes.
Because that didn't age well at fucking all.
Speaking of not aging well, I don't think anybody. They definitely did not age well. Like Alec Baldwin was a handsome man. Alec Baldwin did not look great.
His haircut was off, but yeah.
Like I feel like he's been golden handcuffed to NBC.
Yeah,
it's like he finished this show. It's like, what do you want to do next? We don't care as long as it's with NBC.
And the gag with Jack McBrayer was that he was immortal. And man, does he look? He's aged and does not look like. I get that people age, but you gotta do something. Like he didn't look like he was supposed to age. He looked wrong.
I felt like I was supposed to be applauding Friends for trying something really good. Like, you know what? You really put your hearts into it.
Yeah.
Didn't he always look kind of like spray tanned on the show? Or is that just his skin's just kind of tanner?
He's just kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But like I didn't think anybody particularly looked that great. The big reveal for me in all this was that Lutz is apparently in real life. That actor is apparently married to the actress who played the Dutch writer.
Yes.
They were quarantined
cute
together.
Moment.
Yeah.
I'm the host of the meeting, Liz.
Or maybe they're just hookup buddies. And they're like, it'd be really funny.
We're just potting together.
Yeah.
So it's badly written. It's mostly commercials for NBC shows, and we haven't even started to talk about why we couldn't tell the difference between real NBC upfronts and 30 Rock gags.
Yes.
These shows suck.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
the
they
30
should
Rock
just
thing.
do one of these at the beginning of every season. Before they do pilots, they just make 20 jokes where they call out random shows, and whichever ones become memes, you just make pilots for those.
I mean,
Done.
We've been needing changes in the upfront system for years, and I think you might have hit on something, Kyle.
The fake trailers in between Grindhouse gave us how many movies?
It's true.
Oh, that's a perfect example. That's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
That is honestly, that's better than spending a bunch of money on pilots nobody's going to take. Just making a bunch of dumb ads that people meme and seeing what catches on. Is
I would watch
Dracula.
Well, you mentioned it before. All of us would watch Dracula PD more than any of the real NBC shows that were actually named during this thing.
And what was the competition for Dracula PD? Was it Wolfman Lawyer?
No, God damn it. No, I can't remember what it was.
Wolfman Knife Janitor.
But he didn't pick it up.
But whatever those two were, those shows that they were the joke shows, I would watch either one of those before I watch Young Rock. And I fucking love The Rock. But come on.
And it wasn't just I didn't realize how much shit NBC Universal owned. Sci-Fi USA, NBC, Peacock now. Peacock already sounds like a division of microwave oven technology and television thing. I can't express how much this did not work for a solid hour.
No.
Do you guys catch any Cabletown or Time Warner jokes?
No, I don't think they made any.
Yeah, that's kind of... Because I know it's technically NBC Universal, but it's... Or, no, Comcast, that's it. So,
but I wanted a Scheinhardt wig joke at least, or something.
Yeah, that's like...
Because they were leaning into that heavy when the last season of the show, talking about Cabletown all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, Tracy Morgan didn't have any funny stuff. Jenna Maroney didn't have any... They took the most boring
The best thing Tracy Morgan did was sit at home and polish a hockey stick with maple syrup. That was the funniest thing on the entire episode for me, was him dumping a bunch of maple syrup into a rag and polishing a hockey stick with it. It was no big thing.
I feel like it, and this is not just us, by the way. I posted about this.
Oh no, this got ripped roundly.
Yeah, this is basically it went in and it retroactively made me like 30 Rock less.
Yeah, I'm actually less interested in rewatching 30 Rock episodes now. It was bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. So let's divert a little bit and talk about Peacock as a network, just what we've seen so far, before I talk about the other two shows. So this is the 100th streaming network to launch this year. I'm still waiting for it to
launch. I mean, launched.
101.
So that's the one thing. Just like HBO Max...
It's not really on my television.
They're not on Roku. They're not on Amazon Fire. And that is notable. I don't understand what's going on.
I mean, it's similar to how we launched this podcast not on Apple iTunes.
Yeah, that was why did we do that? That was dumb.
Yeah. We were like, it's 70% of the market, but fuck it.
Yeah. So that's one thing. But when I got it, and I have an Apple TV, so I pulled it up and I was looking through it.
I can get Apple TV on my Roku.
The interface, that is the craziest thing, by the way. Apple Plus is on Roku.
Yeah. You want to talk about a company that has shut the fuck down on sharing APIs and connections and shit with other companies? Apple is on my other devices, but the pissing contest is with HBO and Peacock. So
I thought
Peacock just doesn't really exist for me.
As far as interfaces go, I thought this was much slicker than HBO Max. And it's actually kind of better than Prime. It's got a better interface for finding stuff and for featuring stuff. I think they did a good job of that.
Blows.
Their interface is good.
That said, I challenge you both to go find the Psych 2 Lassie Come Home movie without typing it into the search bar.
That is crazy. It
is not listed with Psych. I clicked on Psych and hit play now, watch now, and it started the pilot episode, and it took me a second to go, this is not the fucking movie that you just advertised to me. That is why I put my email in. That is why I'm on your site.
Their categories do include both Alfred Hitchcock and Nicolas Cage. Mm-hmm. Which I love the sublime to ridiculous that represents. Their backstock is interesting because they've got Sci-Fi, they've got NBC, and they've got USA, and they've got a really decent chunk of reality and kids TV. None of that stuff particularly appeals to me, but it's definitely a segment. But I was
realizing
surprised.
I may be able to take this moment to watch the most recent season of The Magicians. I want to check and see if it's on Peacock.
Well, and they've got Yellowstone, which is on the Paramount Network, which I've been curious about. It's got Kevin Costner in it.
I didn't realize NBC owned that, but sure.
What's the whole difference between whatever service we're doing and their premium service? Because something I wanted to check out was Cleopatra in Space.
Yeah.
And it was listed as only being premium content.
So that's the thing. Some of them are premium only. I've noticed that what they did with their originals is they dropped like 1 or 2 episodes for free with ads, and then all of it's available right now. So they're doing the weekly episode model, but if you want to binge it, you got to pay. So if you pay, you could see all of the capture right now, I believe. So there's like a little, there's a free and paywall, and it's kind of weird. It's unlike any other model. I'll give them that. Like nobody else is doing here's your first taste. But if that's the case, your first taste shouldn't be molasses. It should be something good. But I also got to say, I was looking forward to, and maybe this speaks to me as a TV junkie, I was hoping there was going to be a deeper bench. Like I wanted to see. This is an example. I don't know. It was like Trial and Error, or
or so I haven't looked through it. I really just looked for the 30 Rock thing, and then Psych 2.
Is Good Guys NBC?
It's not on here. Fox? It's Fox. But here's the thing. I like everything I looked on here is stuff that's been. Yeah, Night Court's not on here.
Court? That's bullshit.
Everything that's on here is stuff that's been streaming forever. Like
is News Radio on there?
Nope. But I don't know who owns it.
What the fuck?
I don't know who owns it. I assumed they had something. But they don't have anything. Like, they've got Battlestar Galactica, which has been streaming elsewhere. They've got... So all the Peacock is...
I've always been able to watch all my Frasier. I've always been able to watch Office. I've always been able to watch Parks and Rec.
This is not special. It doesn't feel additive. What it feels is subtractive. I'm not like, oh, look, 30 Rock and Parks and Rec is all in the same place. It's like, oh, shit, they're going to take it off Netflix, which I already have.
Yeah, the existence of this wrecks other streaming networks and doesn't add value to itself.
Yeah, and I think something else that's the problem.
Interesting about their UI is that when I... browse it from the Apple TV. For instance, the YouTube TV app. That's what YouTube offers channels through. Right. They have 3 main options. It's like pretty much the last thing you were watching, and then a grayed over screen with like recommendations.
Right.
That's the middle option. To the left, you have your shows, and then to the right, you have your cable menu. Okay. Mm-hmm. They have something similar, but the left option is a trending menu where it's just like little video clips that aren't even like trending on the web. They're just trending on Peacock, like, you know, assuming other people are watching Peacock. But I found that kind of interesting because that doesn't really, except for like YouTube or news apps, that doesn't really seem to be a draw that people would be like, oh, I wonder what the daily content is for Peacock.
I've noticed that may be a thing because Netflix has started doing that too. Here's the top 10 things people are watching.
Yeah, and I think that helps separate out things on Netflix. I noticed that like HBO... When I go through HBO on Amazon, it gives live now, like what is the HBO movie just on right now. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there is a portion of people who are transitioning or getting ready to cut cable or adding streaming with cable who still have that habit of watching TV. I don't want to pick what's on. Let me just see what HBO is showing that's hot this month. Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. I can come in 15 minutes late to... whatever the shit the
you can get the channel hopping experience, which is kind of gone now. Yeah,
and because I haven't done that in so long, I really don't give a fuck about the channel hopping experience. That's
I don't either.
To me.
But I know some people miss it.
Yeah,
we were talking about shows that have been we can stream them from Netflix and Amazon. Mm-hmm. Isn't one of the big draws for this? They got all the Harry Potter content.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, but who that loves Harry Potter doesn't own Harry Potter? Like, I'm not even that big of a fan. I have all the movies.
We've been able to stream them on HBO free. We own the movies, but then just watch them on HBO because they're always on there.
Yeah.
So again, it's like another one where we've always had access to this. Like, you've been giving out your good stuff this whole time. Why do you want us to pay for it now?
Right. Yeah, it's a weird thing, and I think if you're going to launch a network, you either need to have like a huge backlog of content. I think their big draw was like, look, we're going to have The Office, but we've had all that shit. And so the other leg is you got to have great original content. And that's where this week's discussion of the capture and intelligence comes in. So for some reason, all the original content on the Peacock seems to be British. I don't know why. I don't know if there's some kind of like BBC arrangement they've got, but these are all shows that actually they've already aired in England. Like, these are British shows that have come to Peacock.
National Broadcasting doesn't say which nation.
So
I love that half of their original slew that they opened with is bought content from overseas. It's like if everything or like if everything Netflix dropped one month was just all Korean dramas, instead of half.
Instead of half. So there are two shows, are The Capture and Intelligence, and one of them is a drama about CCTV, and the other is a comedy starring David Schwimmer. And The Capture was interesting. It was the last thing I watched, because I watched The Intelligence, I watched 30 Rock, I watched Brave New World, and then I watched The Capture. And maybe at this point I had a little Stockholm Syndrome setting in, I don't know. But I was like, this is not bad. It's about a British soldier who killed someone in Afghanistan. He's on trial, and his barrister, this cute blonde barrister, gets him off because she syncs up the video differently. And she's like, look, the video is synced differently. He didn't warn the guy off because he was trying not to get caught. He was actually warning the guy he shot. And they're like, this was a video thing. Like, his helmet camera was off. He didn't do it. And it leaves it just ambiguous enough. You're like, oh, did he actually do it? Is this lawyer tricks, or was he actually innocent? And then we get the after party where he's like hanging out with her, and his buddy's like, hey man, she's into you. And he and his barrister, who now are not working together, he's like, he wants to go out with her. And that's all going on one side. On the other side, there's this young woman who is sleeping with her much older boss, and she is moving up in the world of investigation. She's becoming an investigator. She just had a big terrorism score crackdown, so now she's being promoted. And they cross paths because she is put onto a case where it looks like he assaulted and kidnapped his barrister that night. But as they show him the video footage, because there's video cameras everywhere, he's like, none of that happened. What are you doing? It shows him like hitting her and dragging her away, and he's like, none of that happened. That's not what happened. And we're not really sure. Are we is this unreliable narrator? Like, did he do it? And he's psychotic, or is someone manipulating the system? And the investigator is going to have to go down that. So that's just all in the first episode, and I'm like, this is interesting. If I didn't have to pay for more, I would possibly, like, I don't know how this all works. If next week they're going to give me the next episode for free with ads, I might consider watching this. It's not bad. It reminds me of, even though the subject matter is very different, reminds me of State of Play, the British show State of Play, like a little bit of that complex, people are complicated, people can be messed up kind of thing. It's interesting.
This is Capture?
This is The Capture.
So we don't have any VPN sponsors. If you listen to any other podcast, I'm sure you've heard one, though. But if you do that, it's on BBC One. Like, that was the original network.
Yeah.
So you can probably go catch the whole season of this right now with a VPN by just logging
probably
into
tunnel bear your way over there.
BBC One website, yeah.
So on the flip side of The Capture, which I thought was decent and watchable, is Intelligence, which is about it's like their cybernetic security place in England, and David Schwimmer comes in as this obnoxious NSA guy who thinks he's hot shit, who basically tries to completely upend the department. And I don't hate Ross on Friends. Like, I get that he's a douchebag and everybody hates him. I didn't hate Ross. I was like, you know what? I get it. In my 20s, I can kind of see this kind of guy, and he's likable enough in his way. But goddamn if I don't hate David Schwimmer after the end of this first episode. He is such a fucking douchebag, and it's not in any charming way. Like, they want this to be The Office. They want it to be The Office, but in cyber, like everybody's a bit awkward, and everybody's a little weird, and it's funny how bad the boss is, and he brings in all these jelly beans, and he's trying to Americanize them and all this stuff. But it's just obnoxious, and I hated him, and I kind of hated everyone else in The Office too. I was like, none of this has any consequence. None of it feels like earned. I didn't like anybody.
So it sounds like I would be better off just going and watching the one season of Powerless again.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely worse than Powerless, which was not a good show.
Hey, you know what it says here? They're going to do some continuations on Peacock. So shows that are going to go back. Oh, it's kids shows. But AP Bio Season 3.
Yeah, I saw that.
Speaking
AP
of
Bio's
shows kind of on that level.
Yeah. AP Bio, I mean, like, that's the thing. I like AP Bio. I would like to watch a new season.
I never really liked AP Bio.
But I'm not gonna buy Peacock for it.
No, this seems like a streaming service by a very powerful company that is just also rans and garage sale items and, like, buyer beware that Blender's probably broken.
They also got 10-episode runs ordered for a remake of Punky Brewster, and Saved by the Bell.
That just makes me sad. Here's what I'll say about the Peacock after all is said and done of having given it a shot. And we'll talk about Brave New World next week, which is maybe worth it, but this Quibi has a stronger lineup than Peacock.
By far.
Amen, brother.
By a mile.
Yep.
I mean, Die Hard just came out, and I haven't even watched it yet.
Die Hard on Quibi?
I've still got a couple of days left. Yeah, Kevin Hart gets tired of not being an action star, and so he goes and signs up in what is basically like, who's the crazy dude that teaches him to wrestle in, like basically he just shows up at this warehouse and this dude just blows him up a bunch of times. I'm like, you're gonna learn to be an action star, Kevin. Come on, I'm just gonna throw you off a building. You got to learn to do it.
You're gonna make me turn my Quibi back on.
I mean, if you got your 90-day, you may still have a few days left on that.
Yeah, make sure and watch Home Movies Princess Bride first.
Yes, and the home movie Princess Bride as well.
But yeah, there is no way that Quibi should be kicking Peacock's ass, but it is.
Yeah, honestly, if Peacock would wipe their original programming and just make like hard drive space and upload all of the Quibi shows to it, I would be much more likely to drop $5.
Yeah, a Peacock Quibi merger. I'm for that.
Yeah, they're doing some stuff with DreamWorks, so we know how incestuous that could get. Because those are the guys who are running Quibi.
I'm just astonished. Yeah, Cats and I'm just astonished at how
we really have to rate these streaming services. I'm kind of curious to see. I'm pretty sure there's a definite number one. Like, I don't know if anybody really touches Hulu.
It's either Hulu or Netflix. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
I don't see it. For number two, I feel like that's when HBO might kind of sneak up.
I refuse to
now, but like just original HBO guy.
I refuse to rank HBO Max or Peacock until they actually launch
their actual networks. Yeah.
on the other 70%.
They're just a zero on the power rankings.
Yeah, they have an asterisk by them of like only launched in 30% of the market.
They're down there with desert flippers and marble races.
I mean, like, if you make a movie and your mom rents the theater out to show it to your friends, I get that, yes, it premiered.
Oh, man. Well, guys, I think that about wraps it up for this week. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Les.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you to our patrons, to our listeners, to Mandy for making us watch anime.
More Killa Kill for next week.
And until next time,
TV Dudes out.
Hey there, y'all. Since we had sort of a shorter episode this week, and one in which we were kind of bashing on a lot of the stuff we wanted to give you a taste of both what the Patreons are like and a little bit of our joy this week as we joyously discussed Fate of the Furious. So we're going to tag on the first 25 minutes or so of the Patreon episode. You are welcome to listen or not as you like. But if you like the whole thing, maybe consider signing up for the patrons and listening to more of our Patreon exclusive content. And thanks a lot. We are back at it, y'all. We are at the tail end of the Fast and Furious trilogy. Technically the end of what exists right now, because the next one is a spin-off with Hobbs and Shaw. How can Hobbs and Shaw be on the same side, you might ask? Well, that's all going to be answered in the Fate of the Furious.
The Fate.
The eighth movie in the Fate of the first. This is the first one I saw in the theater. This is what got me. I watched all 7 on a beach trip and then went and saw 8, and now I am a convert, and this is what got me in.
I believe this was the one where people weren't coming up to me going, no, I'm telling you it got better. Like, these movies are getting better. This was the one where people were like, I don't give a fuck if you've seen anything else in the franchise. That is a great action movie.
Yeah. Well,
what's great is now so many good ones have come out. You have people like good writers and good directors who are like, oh, I'd love to make a Fast and Furious movie.
Yes.
They're like, oh, I totally have an idea.
I feel this is the best written one so far.
So this is F. Gary Gray directing, who did Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, not who I mean, I was not, I mean, I'll be real, I was not looking forward to watching this one particularly. I've been told it was great, but we watched a lot of fucking Fast and Furious movies all in a row. And I was kind of good. I mean, we saw the Justin Lin ones.
Yeah.
He's my favorite car chase director. We saw the James Wan movie. I love James Wan. I can't really think of any F. Gary Gray movies that I desperately need to watch again. And so
I
really
Straight Outta Compton.
I mean, I liked it, but like
done.
I'm not gonna break doors down to go make sure I see it again this weekend. But this thing's 2.5 hours long on the extended cut, and I was like, man, I don't really know if I give a fuck about this. It opens in Cuba with like this goofy quarter-mile thing, and like in true Fast and Furious fashion, Dom literally makes a speech about how it doesn't matter what's under the hood, it matters who's in the seat, and then immediately starts like, quick, we got to work on this car to make it faster under the hood.
So this is my favorite opening sequence of any of the Fast and Furious movies.
Wanted to ask you, same here. I feel like this, for a couple of reasons. It feels like a Fast and Furious opening. They go ahead and get the Rally Girl quarter mile thing out of the way like immediately, or Cuban mile this time. Right out of the way.
The Cuban mile.
And it's also a great spectacular. These movies open like a Bond movie. I mean, you're watching the last race that ends just before the movie starts, like watching the last adventure Bond's getting out of, and so it needed a set piece.
I gotta tell you, my favorite. There's so just to quick for people who have not seen it, and by God, watch this one. You should really watch this one.
If you're gonna only watch one, this one's fucking great.
Dom is down in Cuba. He's got it's the cousin.
Yep, it's his cousin.
It's his cousin. His cousin who there's a local guy who's going to take his car. He's got some kind of loan on it, and this guy's all smarmy. And he comes up and he's talking about, hey, your cousin owes me money, and is going to let it go. And then the guy insults Letty. He's like, you need to keep your mouth shut. And she's like, oh, now you got a problem.
It's such a mercurial out of no. I mean, the guy insults Letty, but Dom turns even before he does that, because he's like, yeah, you're going to come, because Dom looks at his cousin and is like, hey, if you owe money, man, you gotta pay debts you owe. And he's like, yeah, you're gonna pay what you owe. And Dom's like, oh, so you're gonna be a guy like that. And like, what did he say that was markedly different than you owe me money?
So Dom decides to street race this guy, and this guy's driving his fancy fastest car on the island, and Dom has to drive his cousin's POS, which of course they rig with a pop bottle, a can tab of soda, tab to make it go faster and have go fast juice. And it gets so ridiculous that basically it catches fire, and he uses the fire and the explosion to drive backwards and cross the finish line and dive out and cause the whole thing to explode in spectacular fashion. It is a fantastic opener. And here's the thing I realized in watching this the umpteenth time this week. I was watching it with my buddy of mine, who's one of my Fast and Furious buddies, and we were thinking, Dom, first of all, I think Dom is immune to bludgeoning damage. That's why he can roll out of cars with no problem at all. And that's why later he needs protection from actual fire damage.
He gets up out of rolling out of that car that is on fire. I mean, I love when he turns it around to pull the flames away from him to clear it. But he rolls out of that car and then stands up, picks a kid up, and waves to Letty like, hey, what's up?
That's the thing. Dom, the DM let Dom be immune to bludgeoning damage. He's like, yeah, sure, I can still get you with like stabbing and fire and stuff, but Dom knows I can always avoid the fire and stuff. I'll just dive out of the car. So he's overpowered as a character. That's the thing he tricked him into. So Dom is immune to bludgeoning damage. And I think Dom is, for all his talk about family and all that kind of stuff, the real driving thing for Dom is if somebody can drive good. Because he's all up in this guy's business about, you insulted my woman, you insulted my cousin, and at the end he's like, no, keep your car. You've earned your respect is good enough for me. And I think what he means is, you drive good. We decided that Dom basically was like he's like, Dom, that guy killed Han. You're gonna just let him into your club? He's part of your family now? He's like, yeah, but he drives good.
Actually, so no, I think there's a bit more to that, which we might be getting a little ahead of the story.
Yeah, that gets ahead of it, yeah.
Yeah. There was definitely, going into this movie, you're like, okay, I know they're making a Hobbs and Shaw movie later, but how could they ever trust Shaw again? Like, I don't ever see him getting into this group. No matter how much I like Jason Statham, like, he's a bad guy, it ain't gonna happen.
This is why I will full on, like, I realize that I have mocked routinely the writing of all of these movies. They are all written by one dude, Chris Morgan, and I feel like if he ever ran into me at a party, he would probably not pay any attention to me because I'm a nobody and he's written all the Fast and Furious movies. But This is the best thing Chris Morgan's ever written. This movie has the most believable character turns that have happened in any of these movies, and I say that mostly on, not just on some of the moments of like Dom and his kid and the tear in his eye and Charlize Theron and all of that, but the turn of Owen Shaw and all of the stuff that happens with everybody else, and we'll get into that. Is a true. It's a really wonderful turn. Like, you can see where, like, I mean, I can't be mad at you. Everything you did when you were the villain was stuff I would have done if that had happened to me. Like,
there's a great moment with actually Hobbs and Shaw, where he's like listing off, you had all these accommodations and then you became a traitor. How do you do that? And he goes, I don't know. You just steal an EMP, and next thing you know, people are labeling you stuff, which is what Hobbs got busted on at the beginning. He's like, that was there's not a big difference between the two of us.
There's a little bit of retconning going on where they presented him as this guy, this kid, this black op who had gone rogue, and the reveal here is sort of he didn't actually go rogue. He was just sold out by his own government. And I'm like, and it ties into what they're doing here. It's very clever, because you're like, oh, he's not a bad guy. We just thought he was a bad guy and he was in desperate straits, just like they are now, because they got to fight Dom.
And they play it more like all of them are bad guys. Like, the people we root for are the bad guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Dom's gone rogue from a rogue team. Like, I can see the look in his eyes. Dom's gone rogue.
He's double rogue.
Like, this is double secret roguebration.
He's got 2 white streaks.
Right. So, Charlize Theron's Cypher is an impressive character to me, because here's the thing. She is wickedly evil. Like, she threatens a baby.
Real evil. Like, real evil. She's straight up...
This might be the most evil of all the movies.
And here's
in terms of, like...
Is she going to end up working with him by the end of the next movie? Because that's been the move.
Right? Exactly. But despite how evil she is, she's very charismatic, and she's having such a great time. I'm like... I still love the character. I wasn't like, oh, I can't wait for the killer. I was like, no, I'm glad she got away. What a great character.
In a franchise that has redeemed and flipped almost all of their antagonists, it made me realize this is really one of the first times that they've given me a villain.
Yeah.
Like, most of the time they've given me an antagonist. She
was like a Bond villain, but she had her gun to Dom's head the entire movie.
Yes.
Well, when
her foot on the tiger's neck.
On the Tigers.
That was a great line. That's the thing with Shaw, and we know, we watched the trailer for Fast 9 before this, because I wanted to talk about this. And so, spoilers, if you haven't seen the trailer for Fast 9, there's a pretty notable thing in it, and that is Han is alive.
What?
And that is the trick with this whole thing. Much as I love Deckard Shaw and his conversion in here, and yes, he saves Dom's son, and I can see where that sort of earns you a pass, he killed Han, who is one of their family. And I'm like, you can't just let that pass. So the only way it works is if Han is somehow alive. And so 9 is going to reveal somehow that Han is alive, that Dom knew it, and that's why they can sort of let Deckard Shaw in. And that closes that logic loop. The problem with that, they can't do that with Cypher, because she kills the mother of Dom's kid.
She kills Elena.
Yeah.
She kills Elena. And let's talk about how bad Elena got fucked over in this.
I'm about to say, through this whole movie, I mean, like, do you know how many times in Dom's kid's life growing up, there's going to be moments where everybody's laughing about, like, the cosmic love fate of Letty and Dom, and how, like, it would sever the universe to break them apart. And, except for that 1 month when when Letty didn't have any memory, and that was when your mom fucked Dom a little bit, and that's how you're here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because that's her whole deal. Remember at the end of 6 that we talked about this, that she came out and they're like, she had to be basically the bigger woman and go like, oh yeah, you deserve him. Here, take him back, and I'm
I guess
good.
His ex-wife's not dead.
Yeah, and then she's like working with Hobbs, and she almost gets blown up out of the building, and he has to save her, and then she gets taken as a hostage and killed. Like, that poor character did not have a great arc.
No. She goes from being like tough, competent, amazing, I'm going to have you on the team, to having to be saved a bunch of times.
If I can make a critique, I do think that was maybe a pinch too far, killing her that way, because it was already pretty horrifying that her and the baby were being held against their will in such a secure facility they have to have 2 keys, one at one end of the plane and one at the other end of the plane.
I agree.
And as Dom said, he's only one guy.
I agree. I think they wanted to make Cypher that bad, and they also wanted you to have. They wanted you to really feel it when he picked up the what's his name? Bone. What's his actual name? The red-haired dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They wanted you to
Tormund.
really Tormund. When he beat Tormund and killed him at the end, they wanted a fuck yeah moment, and he had to have done something really bad. Mm-hmm. So I think that they were trying to earn that, and I do think also to some extent it probably was a get Elena out of the way. She's inconvenient.
I felt like they were tying up the loose end of there being a Letty too.
Yeah.
They both tied up a loose end and made her this really important cemented part of the franchise moving forward. Assuming, she's the mother of Dom's child.
Yeah.
Whether or not they were romantic, when she was killed, I'm like, you killed my baby mama.
And of course, now by the rules of the franchise, Dom and Letty have to retire out to the suburbs and raise that child.
Oh yeah.
I fast forwarded to the end of the credits looking for that beach scene with Dom.
That was me singing the song. Sorry,
so
it didn't sound like it.
The two of them, I also think the reason you can't just have Dom and Letty have being pregnant and having a kid if they want to give him a kid is that it is the reason why finding a reason why Dom would turn his family is that we've spent 7 movies establishing that Dom would never turn his family. You had to give us something.
This one's about betrayal, Randy. I didn't see it coming either.
And it works. I'm like, yeah, I buy this. I buy why he would do this. Yeah.
It actually works for me.
Can we talk about the turn, too? Because, let's face it, if you've watched as many movies, you're going into this knowing that he's coming back. He's not all bad.
Right.
And when you watch it with that microscope, you realize he roughed him up, but he didn't hurt him.
No.
And my favorite example of that is when they get him in the street and they all shoot harpoons into his car. They're trying to hold him into the place.
The harpoons
and he's trying to think of a way out of it.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I got to mess up one of these cars. Who did he pick? He picked Roman because Roman did the crash derby.
Yeah.
He did derby racing. Out of any of them, he's the guy, which they all end up getting pretty jacked up.
Yeah.
But he doesn't he's not shooting them. He's not taking shots at him.
It's a gun to the redhead guy's head to protect Letty. He still takes the case, but you won't let him hurt Letty. Yeah. Yeah, I really thought they handled it very well. And they handled the rest of the team just being confused and I don't fucking know what's up, but if he is against us, then we don't have time to second guess this.
I love Dom going in with the giant buzzsaw power armor.
That was cool.
The fucking Jaws of Life looking thing.
Yes,
yeah.
That was so good.
And his mask, that was such a great mask.
Yeah. So I would like to go back just a little bit and talk about one of my other favorite sequences.
I have to say, we just should go through and talk about some stunts here.
Which is how they brought The Rock into this. This poor government agent who is trying to get him to deal with this world-ending imp. He's like, look, I need you to focus up here. And The Rock is like, motherfucker, get on board with my soccer game right now. I fucking love that sequence.
Go Dragons. Louder.
I loved him doing the haka with the girls.
And the other, the one girl on the other team that's like, I don't want to play soccer anymore.
I love seeing that side of Hobbs. He's like,
the bleacher full of moms.
Yes.
And with the government agents like, no, but there's more moms than there are kids on the field. He's like, yeah, big soccer town. I don't know. The Rock just won't acknowledge it. We're just a big soccer town. I don't know.
This is kind of where this franchise went for me. Is 8 is where they started to realize this is ridiculous, and we're just going to embrace it because they also have the sequence with Roman in the end when they're in the candy factory or whatever it is, and he finds Black Santa with the hot car.
Yeah.
It's also got Baby Nobody, played by Clint Eastwood's kid.
Yep, Little Nobody, played by Scott
we have to talk about this for a bit because this was an obvious Paul Walker swap out.
Yeah.
This character of Baby Nobody, which I think that's such a great name for him.
Yeah. The subtitles call him Little Nobody, but yeah.
Which I didn't really think of that at first, but then you get to one of the first big ensemble pieces with the cars, and now he can drive too.
Yeah.
And he's in Paul Walker's car, and it's I was like,
and they don't need him.
I did
Scott
like that he was kind of the whipping boy. It's he wasn't a replacement. And I wouldn't say he's on the team after this movie.
No.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's in the...
But yeah, it definitely seemed like they were trying to we need to put that flavor back into the Dr. Pepper or it won't taste right.
There is no flavor to Scott Eastwood. Scott Eastwood is the neutral yogurt they add flavor to.
But
you know what I would have said to him on day one of shooting that movie? I would have gone up to him before I introduced myself. I just want you to know, I really want you to get your dad to sign something for me. Now that we've got that out of the way, I want you to know, let's be friends. It's cool, and it's not about me getting you to get your dad to sign something for me. Like, we already got that out of the way.
So I've got a couple of headcanon things going on. One, outside of the movie, I believe that Secret of My Success style, Sam Worthington and Scott Eastwood are the same actor, just trying to get work. I think Jay Courtney might also be, but he just does an accent. Like, just whatever can keep him working. He's got multiple agents. But in the movie, I believe Kurt Russell is still Ego in this from Guardians of the Galaxy.
It is hard to not think that he's going to like double cross him. He does.
He's lived through some shit he shouldn't have lived through. Yeah. He does the crazy like gunshot stuff. I mean, this is just one of Ego's trips to Earth when he's having fun with the humans, getting a little shieldy with it.
I mean,
even says,
Mr. Nobody reminds me of that American Made with Tom Cruise, and the point in the movie where the FBI agent is just like, who are you talking about? I don't know you. And he just walks off. Like, that's Mr. Nobody. He would, when shit went sour, he'd go, I don't know where
I was never even here.
From.
I don't know.
Yeah.
When he walks him into his headquarters, he even says, well, where are we? And like, well, this is headquarters. It's called Nowhere. and I was like, you guys just went through some kind of fucking dimensional gate and don't realize it. And you are in nowhere.
I maintain, guys, that Mr. Nobody's real name is Gabriel Cash, and that he was a cop in L.A. in the 90s, and eventually he just became this spook.
Yes, I will go with that. I will go with that.
So him and Baby Nobody talking to the Hobbs when he has been framed for, well, not framed, he did steal something. He just got caught because Don betrayed them. When the way that they go at each other, I loved. And then one of my favorite sequences of all of these movies is Hobbs and Shaw talking shit at each other from their jail cells. I don't know how much of that was improv, if any, but my God, it was so good.
After we all watched the YouTube clip, which people should go out and find, there's a whole YouTube clip of movie bloopers. The one we watched, I don't care about the rest of them, but the opening bit was from Fast and the Furious, either 5 or 6. And it was apparently I hope you brought enough baby oil. I hope you brought enough forehead, I think is what The Rock says back to.
He's coming up, the Rock's, Roman's like, something about baby oil, and then The Rock makes fun of his big-ass forehead, which apparently was an improv.
Yes, and Ludacris's spit take was real. And apparently the baby oil joke is because of something behind the scenes that The Rock and Vin Diesel both are slathered in baby oil all the time on camera to look like that. And so that between the two of them, they went through like a fucking crazy amount of baby oil. And it's all I could think of in the escape from prison sequence where Shaw and Hobbs are fighting their way out of a prison riot. There's a moment where The Rock jumps on his back. I had to rewind it to watch it twice. Jumps on his back and slides on this metal walkway and comes off of it into a chain link fence and down. And like the body slide of it is like a full base steel. Like how did you slide that? And then I went, oh yeah, you're like 400 pounds of baby oil.
It's like the grease up scene from Bronson.
Totally.
But
with The Rock,
Hobbs's "I will beat you like a Cherokee drum" kills me every time.
I'll knock your teeth so far down your throat, you're gonna shove that toothbrush up your ass.
The two of them and how much they hate each other.
And how much Hobbs does not want to leave prison like this. Like, fuck you, I'm going to sit in my cell. I'm not leaving like this.
It's one of my favorite things. It's honestly what makes Hobbs and Shaw work, which again...
their chemistry's great.
I can't wait for you guys to see it. But this was like, for me, they had me bought into, okay, I understand why nobody would bring in Shaw, because nobody doesn't care. He's like, look, you don't want to be sprung from prison? Fuck you. I need you sprung from prison. You don't want to work with Shaw? I need Shaw. Get on board.
Yeah.
It's like,
also, it makes a lot of sense that he would want both of those guys out of prison because, like you said, they're the only two people who got Dom successfully.
Yeah.
Or found him successfully besides him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back through the movies.
Like it is a Suicide Squad Avengers that he's putting together, and it's great. Yeah. I kind of he's the Amanda Waller, Nick Fury of this.
So I love, I think Ramsey has blended very nicely into the team, or Ramsey and Tej. And the Ramsey-Tej Roman thing, the tail end where she's like, tell me my last name.
Answer me one question. Yeah. What is my last name? I was like, go Ramsey. Watching her counter hack.
I felt like that was the writer saying, okay, we're not going to take the lazy way out of like, will they, won't they? It's like, what is just a way to like put a period at? I wouldn't be surprised if they came up with that first and they were like, oh, this is going to feed everything. Because it is such a perfect crescendo for that whole story with the three of them.
Yeah. It's great.
And I love there's a moment where Nobody first has them kind of working together and is like looking at little Nobody of like, this is why I got these guys together, watch. And they're trying to figure out how to, like, well, they can't use... First of all, they're trying to find someone, and I'm sitting in my living room going, wasn't the entire last movie about the Devil's Bunghole or God's Eye or whatever?
And they went right to it,
And Roman goes, just use the God's Eye thing. I was like, oh, shit. And they explain why they can't and how there's a problem with it. And then Nobody stands back and is like, all right, I've explained the problem. Watch this. And between, like, Roman saying dumb shit and Tej going, that won't work, but wait. And then Ramsey also chipping in.
Yeah.
Within like 3 minutes, they've got like they've gotten started on a plan to reverse hack this shit or some hacker movie.
One of the smart dumb things here. Like, it's dumb that there is a crazy hack your God's Eye thing, but it's smart that the writers went, oh shit. We got to deal with that, and the way we're going to deal with it is our villain is going to be smart enough to steal that right away.
Mm-hmm.
And
to subvert that shit right away.
And I think that was great.
By the time they solve that problem, you find out, oh, well, you didn't really need to solve this problem because your new problem is you don't even have that anymore.
Yeah. Your new problem is you don't even know to find them because they found you.
This Fast and Furious movie did a better job than most of walking me through these set pieces really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she collected all the Infinity Stones like real quick.
Yeah.
Speaking of set pieces, let's talk zombie cars.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener-supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.